Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator on America's Next. I have a few updates for you guys. Starting on March 1st, our show will air at 9 p.m. Again, March 1st, our show will air at 9 p.m. Additionally, we have more updates coming for you soon. Join our community, be a part of our movement right here on America's Next Motivator. I'll be right back. All right. Just want to give you guys some updates. Coming soon, we will be launching an academy for parents. We will also be launching an academy for adolescents, but it's coming soon. It's going to be a dynamic culture, and it's going to be extremely helpful. So look out for those advertisements and that opportunity coming soon on the way. You know, I've been thinking about something. I've got a guest too, so just give me a second. My guest will be here shortly. Grand Rising. We've got to figure out how to mobilize our societies. It's very important to me. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I just see that we've got to do that. We've got to mobilize our societies. I think that we all play a role in where our society goes, and I'm excited at the conversations and the opportunities that we have to create to make our world a better place. Today, our guest is a powerful person who's been through quite a journey. Her name is Rasheeda Loatman, and she's here with us today. Rasheeda, how you feeling out there?
Hi, Seth. How are you? I'm feeling great. Blessed to, have this opportunity to again, share my story on a different platform,
Absolutely. Where are you from?
I am from Bridgeton, New Jersey. I was born out there, but I was pretty much raised all over, being in the foster care system.
Really? How
Yeah.
old were you when you went into foster care?
I was okay. It's crazy. I was about 9, maybe 9.5. The situation behind that was I went on a field trip. I'm gonna try to make it this short. Went on a field trip. I was always, a big woman, a big kid. Throughout my life, I was BBW. So I would get extra snacks on a trip. You get you get a bag lunch, but I'm getting extra. I need me.
Right.
And my little cousin was also on this trip with me, and he wanted my snack, and I told him no. When we got home, he went to my grandmother and told my grandmother that I wouldn't share with him, that, I was just being so mean to him on this trip. And at that time, she took and got an aluminum baseball bat. She beat me in my face with this baseball bat. The whites of my eyes were burgundy. They were completely shut. I had like lumps all over my face. She kept me out of school for about 2-3 weeks, to save face. My sister, that's a year older than me, I have been crying to her because I wanted to go to school. I'm really young. And she's like, I gotta help you. And she's only
How old were you? How old were you when this happened?
I was about 9.5, 10ish.
Okay.
And
let's slow this down.
Okay.
What was going on in your family before you were born? What was going on in your family before you were born?
That's a good question, because that's where it starts. My biological mother and biological father were products of their environments. They were both addicts. They were both in and out of prison, running the streets, just living that different lifestyle.
Your mother and your father both spent time incarcerated.
Yes, my father went down on a 10-year bid, and as well as my mother. She did the same amount of time.
Wow.
Correct.
Now, Did your mother have brothers and sisters?
She does actually. She has several brothers and sisters on her father's side.
Hmm.
I can't really tell you the number of those, but I do know on her mother's side, my grandmother, she has two biological brothers.
Hmm. What happened in your family during those 10 years while these two key people, your mother and father, were
Right.
away? What happened to your family while those people were gone for 10 years?
I mean, from my understanding, what happened was my mother made a decision that she knew, she was going away. I don't think my father had much control over that
Hmm.
decision, but my mother placed me somewhere where she thought I would be safe
Okay.
until she was able to do her job as a mother.
Hmm.
Um, so she gave three of her children were put up for adoption, which is the oldest, two of the oldest, and the baby. So it's six
Hmm.
of us.
Hmm.
The other three we were put together with my brother and sister's family. So she kept us three together because we were the younger sector, and then she adopted the other two and the baby out. So
Hmm.
I didn't know anything about the other siblings. I only knew of the two I grew up with.
Right.
Um,
So now, how old were you when your mother was released from prison?
I was 13, about to turn 14. I was pregnant with my first child. Um, and that was something because I didn't know her. You know, um,
Wow.
I got released when my mother. When I met my biological mother, she was just getting released from prison, and DIFAS was releasing me to her as if I was an inmate with the state. So they were
So
like, "I'm sorry."
it's okay. This is deep.
Hmm.
This is a part of our reality in America. Before I brought you into the show, I talked about how we have a responsibility to move society forward. We all play a role in that.
Right.
When I listen to your story, it brings about a sense of urgency as to what I was talking about. Moving society forward so that a young Rasheeda doesn't have to spend the first 10 years of her life with incarcerated parents. And that she doesn't have to get put into the foster care system before the age of 10 years old and be released to her mother with the attachment and disattachment disorders that come along with starting a relationship with your biological mother at nearly a you're almost, you're halfway to adulthood, full adulthood,
Absolutely.
when
And
you're
to be
starting a relationship with the very person who birthed you. Go ahead.
all right, and to be more, because I want everybody to understand the dynamic of where I come from. Before even knowing of my mother was told to me that she was deceased. She was an addict. She had died in a hotel room. I've had so many stories told to me. So my mind frame was already, I don't have parents. This woman that I knew was mine, she doesn't exist. She's deceased, right? So I went on for several years, not even knowing of her, just going with along with the lie.
Who told you
As
that? Who told you? Who told? And I'll have to interject and jump in from time to time
you're
because
fine, you're fine.
the story is that deep for me that we
Okay.
need to unpack it and we need to walk away with the understanding of what some of us are going through in America and why our society needs to be moved forward. I don't
Right.
want people to take a comment like that and think that it's cliche or that it's soft in any type of way. No, I'm talking about hard, intense, meticulous work that needs to be done to ensure that these types of experiences stop. And
Absolutely.
in order to respond to these life circumstances, we've got to hear the story. We've got to hear the details, and
You
we've got to
do.
walk away with a clear vision. Okay, so now, um, where were your parents from? I know you said that they were products of their environment.
Mm.
What
And
is their environment? What was
when
their environment?
you say where are my parents from, what I could tell you is this: my mother was raised by her great grandmother. My grandmother worked a lot. She was raised by uncles. relatives.
Mm-hmm.
And my father, he was actually a foster care. All of his
Mm.
siblings had been,
Right.
dished out to, different organizations. So
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is this: at that time, I didn't understand that. I was
Right.
looking to have a parent. I'm talking about these are people that are genetically made to love and nurture me,
Right.
and they were not there. Um, so when this happened to me, I cried to my sister because I'm like, I feel like they're gonna kill me. I was physically being abused. I was sexually being abused. I was mentally, emotionally, verbally being abused. Any level of abuse, and this was way before I went to the foster care system.
Right.
That I
And
had.
this was at the hands of strangers, neighbors, friends of the family itself.
Oh, we're gonna say this was at the hands of friends of the family. Because I didn't know any outside of that because I was younger. So this abuse just kept going on and on and on. At the point of at 2 years old, I could remember waking up in a hospital bed. This is two. Go with me now. Said waking up at the hospital. I see two individuals standing on the side of my bed. I see a yellow Easter bunny and I hear them talking and they're whispering and then and to hear that story as I got older, they said to me that I took heart pills. I climbed on top of a bureau. I pulled the drawers out, so I had to be smart. Okay, I didn't lack nothing. I pulled the drawers out. I climbed up there on top of the mantle, and I took my aunt's heart pills, and I just swallowed the whole bottle. And by then, I had done collapsed, fell off the thing. They rushed me to the hospital. This is at 2 years old. How am I that hurt and emotionally that broken that at 2 years old I could think of suicide?
Mm.
And this is how that story was brought to me. So to go past that, when I brought this to my sister, I was already broken by two. So when
Mm-hmm.
these people was abusing me, beating me, I felt like a child slave. It was like several adults in this house, and we were subject to clean up behind them. We had to get toothbrushes and scrub the cracks of the floors and the steps. And
Mm-hmm.
and, and these were grown people that would sit there and make this mess.
So you're telling me that there is a place in America, specifically where you grew up, in your actual location, where adults are treating children like cattle,
Absolutely.
treating
Absolutely.
treating treating children like just pieces of flesh that
Hmm.
have no real value to society. Maybe because the adults are so damaged because
Hmm.
of the horrible experience that they might have had, and now they are recreating that pattern with their own vices, with drugs, and uh, whether it be alcohol or abuse. And
Exactly.
so their thoughts of another human being is that this person is actually subhuman. You were
Mm.
being treated subhuman, not even as if you were an entire human being. So
Right.
now I want to fast forward. When did you actually go into foster care? How old were you?
It was around the same time. I had to been about I was about to turn 10.
Okay.
So when my sister went to school that day, we had a conversation and I'm crying and she crying and we little kids. And she said, "Sister, they're gonna kill you." She said, "I have to do something. I have to get you out of here." What 9 and 10 year old is sitting down together, coming up with a plan to escape,
Save your
So
life.
yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what she did. And the experience from that, when she ran away from school, she finished the whole day out. Um, when she got there, she walked up with the police. She walked up with the city's police department, and the guy comes to the step, and I see him. So I'm trying to like get as close as I can to the door because I need them to see that the damage that this woman did to me. I needed him to see. Don't walk away. Don't let this go. Where nobody's listening again because she's older. So when he opens the door, she rushes to the door. I'm behind her. He looks at me and at the complete, just him staring at me, his eyes is tearing up and tears is just coming down his face. And this man said to her, this officer said to her, he said, you're lucky that I'm familiar and my parents know you and your husband. Because if you didn't and you wasn't old, I'd be hauling you off to jail right now. And he like snatched me from behind her and He put me in a car. He's talking to me and he's like trying to put his coat over me and he's trying to console me. And as I'm leaving out, she's in the doorway. She's like, she's a terrible kid. She doesn't listen. She's hard headed. And she's ranting off all of these dark things about me that I have no understanding of what this is. What do you mean I'm bad? I'm this. I don't even know what that means. You understand me? I have no understanding. I've been taught right from wrong. I could pretty much dissect, the right from the wrong. But this here was you being wrong. You're
That's
crazy.
right.
You need discipline. You need therapy. I don't know what you did and what you've been through. But see, the hidden secret behind that was they were not my family, Cedric. They were my siblings' family. The brother and sister that I was raised with, that was their family. So I looked
Okay.
at nothing like these people. And what it was is they had animosity with my birth father. It was like an ongoing beef with my birth father and my birth mother. So they treated me according to how they felt about him.
Do
And I
you
was a child.
feel? Do you? Yes, and you were an innocent child. That's 100% correct. Ladies and
Absolutely.
gentlemen, we are talking to Rasheeda Loatman today. Her life has been full of experiences. Many of them were not positive. Many of them were not particularly helpful. She's been hurt. She's been held back, but she did not let it stop her from creating a positive life. And so that's the journey that we're on today with Rasheeda Loatman. I
Mm.
want to raise awareness about the lives that young women and young men are living here in America. Before foster care,
Right.
a lot of conversations are had about the negative impacts of foster care or the negative experiences that some people have in foster care. But let's also be honest that a child who's being treated in a subhuman way, that no one is concerned about the way that you're eating, no one is concerned about the way that you're looking, no one is concerned about the way that you're treated, no one is concerned about protecting you
Mm-mm.
to the point where you're 10 years old trying to figure out how to save your life. Foster care might be the greatest thing that could ever happen to you.
Ah.
I
Now,
know. Simply because it removes you from that scenario and it gets more eyes on you.
I'm glad that you said that, Cedric. I could not disagree with you more.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. When I was processed, they put me in, they took us out, they did remove us. I was placed in I was placed with a family. This family they owned a big house. They had a half a double on this side, half a double on this side. When I got there, I noticed that this family only took in little girls. The little boys were with the sister in the other house next door.
Mm.
My foster father, this was my first experience being in foster care. Um, he had padlocks on my door. So he would latch the door, click the padlock, and only he had the key to this door. When they had family events and family barbecues and stuff like that, I was locked in this room and he would babysit me. And this man would sexually abuse me. And I went through this like the first year. Listen, I came from this abuse to this abuse, and it's like I don't want to keep saying something, and now I look like I'm the issue. So what I did was I shut down. I pretty much stopped dealing with folks. I stopped talking, and I pretty much isolated myself. So what that did was prep me to institutionalize myself at a very young age. That family also was very heavy in church. They would sell
Wow.
platters. They would sell platters, right? And they would take me in this big old brown van with the grill and the platter trays and the utensils, and you go with him to set up. And I would go with this man by myself. And as I'm in the back and I'm trying to get stuff out, he jumps in the back of the van with me and he molests me over and over. And we're not talking. And the crazy thing about this is I'm on the Department of Family Services property. The church sits in the backyard of this building,
Mhm.
where the state offices are. And this is where
So
this man felt comfortable enough to molest me.
so your experience was that foster care was not a safe place. It was not better.
No, I was lost. I was tossed around. There was no stability. I went from, because you see what age I am.
Mm,
At that age, you're not acceptable in that. They want little babies that they
mm,
can mold, that aren't tarnished, because that's
mm.
what it was. When you're a certain age and you're in a foster care system, you're tarnished. You can't be taught, and that's how they go. And I felt like I wasn't in that lane. I went from I was in about 25 group homes. I could be, overdoing
25
it.
group homes.
Group homes. What I mean by group homes is these are children's prisons. These are not the dynamic where you go in there, oh, I'm going to be loved here, or I'm going to be taught something here. That is not that dynamic. So when they take these kids and they put them in the group home setting, it's just like a prison setting. You have guys on one side, girls on one side. They lock you in, unlock you, tell you when you can, use the bathroom, eat, shower, shave, come
Let
out.
me ask you something.
Yeah.
Where were all of the social workers and professionals checking in on you? Where's the story of the social worker who comes to see about you and realizes your relationship with this foster father is a little bit different? Where is the story where your social worker comes and says, "Are you keeping Rasheeda in this room with these padlocks?" Where is the story of the foster care system stepping in and making sure that you are safe? Are there any stories like that?
No, let me tell you what they did to me. They made me out to be like this monster. Okay. They would come in maybe every 6 months to check in. They'll call, if someone needs something, or I have a doctor's appointment of some sort and they need paperwork, then they'll touch base. In the beginning, when you first get there, they're in contact. But I was in this place for almost 2 years. So it was barely any type of communication as far as with my caseworker. Now with this scenario, it happened the same way. I went to my sister. She was my go-to. She's a year older than me. She's smaller than me, so I'm the big little sister. You understand? But I would go to her because I'm like, sis, let me ask you something. I said, is this same thing happening to you that's happening to me? And she looked at me and said, what's happening to you? I said, every time that y'all leave, he comes in here and he touches on me. And it don't be nobody here. She said, no, sis, that don't happen to me. She said, but listen, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna tell the therapist. And that's exactly what she did. So school contacted them, my caseworker. Mind you, before the caseworker came, she called those people. She called my foster parents and told them what I said and told them what happened. So now they're treating me like, oh my God, I can't wait till she pull up and come get you type of feel. Like
You know
I'm
what?
the issue.
You know what? Um, I love what I do here on America's Next Motivator because I get to listen to honest stories of people from all different walks of life. When I'm speaking about my journey or foster care or trying to explain why I'm so passionate about this, some people chalk it up to, Cedric, you always come off as angry or upset. You're always coming off as extremely, extremely frustrated. Let me tell you something. I'm doing everything I possibly can to remain calm in this moment, holding back the tears that deserve to be shed over what you went through.
Listen,
It's not about anger. It's about the fury that has resulted from the reality of disrespect of precious people like Rasheeda here, like her siblings, like her parents, like her great grandmother. Her great grandmother raised her mother. The disrespect, the disregard for the lives of precious people is why I am furious. Are you listening to the story that she's sharing with us today? No, I can't go out there and say that everything that's happening in child welfare is all positive, and I can't say let's just smooth over the horror stories and let's talk about the positive pieces. I can't do that.
right. And that's what they want you to do.
This woman has been through too much. My brothers and sisters, me, myself, foster kids in America, we go through entirely too much. The disrespect has to stop. The silence about it has to stop. The conversation can't be cute.
Okay.
The conversation can't be cute. It's not. It just can't make you feel good that someone was sexually abused at all. The predation, the predators that look at a child and say, "Oh, I'm going to take her down. I'm going to take him down." So many of us have experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
Adults preying on you as if they're the eagle and you're like the little birdie, the little brand new birdie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that we are stopping the predators from flat out attacking our children, attacking us mentally, emotionally, verbally, physically. And then because the experience, it heightens your awareness so much, you have the mind to put your life back together because your trauma was so severe.
There it is.
That you were 13, but the trauma gushed out a 30-year-old out of you.
That, yeah.
That you were 15 years old, but the trauma gushed out a 35 and 40-year-old out of you.
Let me share.
Go ahead.
When I was in that situation, that environment, I felt as though I was being groomed for the prison system. It was never any stability. They would put me in one spot if I wasn't good enough, or I made a choice that a child does, like, maybe I stayed outside past the light, coming on the street lights. That was an option to get sent back. Maybe you skip school that day. That was an option to get sent back to foster care. And it's like, okay, well, when you're a parent, you don't get the option to throw your kids back. You have to stand there and maintain that relationship and teach them kids right from wrong. And what I feel like the foster care system does, what they need to do, let's make that clear, is they need to reform it, to readjust it. It has to be a different level, because I'm coming in foster care with mental health issues. I'm coming in foster care sexually abused. What parents are equipped to deal with that? Had they had the right training to deal with a broken soul? Or are they just looking for these newborn babies where they don't have to do that because they're not tarnished? And that's what they mean by being tarnished. Oh man, this girl had been abused. She'd have been in this home, this home, this home, this home. She's broken. I can't go through that, but that's not what a real parent does. A real parent is unconditional. A real parent is going to sit down and we're going to get through this. We're going to figure out something that can help you cope. You understand?
A real parent is going to go out and get the help that they need to be a healthy adult, to have a positive impact on the lives of children. We have to revisit, what is the value of a human being? We have to revisit, are we respecting the value of a human being? And then, are we making the world a better place? Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Rasheeda Loatman, aka Lady Ra, PKA, an advocate for us all. And we'll be right back after this brief message. Y'all sit tight. America's Next Motivator. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. America's Next Motivator, hosted by me, Cedric Riley, and sponsored by the Pride Empowerment Network. And we're back. Rasheeda, how you feeling out there?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. I'm
That's
excited.
right. That's right. We're in the thick of things right now, and we are enthused to know how you got to where you are today. Very much enthused to know how you made it through. What was the turning point for you? And we can definitely, continue to walk with you through high school. How did you complete high school? Give us a couple more, experiences, however they may come out, that explain how you got through high school.
Oh my. I didn't get through high school actually. At that age, I'm in foster care. My oldest son is a rape baby. So I had to stop. I had to, you know, keep it a secret. I hid it for several months, and this is before, um, because sorry, the foster system let me back out to the same people that did what they did to me because she made me look like I was a bad kid. So they
The
sent me back.
original
The,
biological family members?
the
Okay.
original people, they sent me back. And when I went back this time, my aunt's baby's father, her boyfriend at the time, had started molesting me. And that is who my son's father is. Me and my aunt have the same kid's father. So I was dealing with that. It's a home divided. And again, my sister had to save me. I hid it because I was bigger, so they couldn't tell. I was about 7 months pregnant, and their uncle, um, he beat me with this belt that had like these metal spikes on it, and I had cuts all up my arms, and I was buckled down in a corner, and I'm blocking myself. And my sister, she's smaller than me as usual, but she feisty. She come running in there and she jumps on her uncle's back. She's like tussling, no, 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 please, she's pregnant. And that's when it was exposed. I darted out the front door. I didn't have any socks, shoes, anything on. I get halfway down the street, and the neighbor, I could never forget her because she was like an angel to me. Like I literally ran into this woman's arms, and she's known in the hood like, a big mama, but I ran to her and she has children my age. So she's like, come here, baby, come here. So she brings me in the house. She sees I'm bleeding. She cleans me up. She gives me shoes and socks that belong to her daughter. And she says, I'm gonna call your uncle. Now, the uncle she's trying to call is my favorite uncle. Oh man, he's awesome. He was never home, so he never was there when all of this stuff was happening to me. He was away at college. So when I found out he was back in town, I'm like, yes, please call him, because he was the only one that would listen. So I get on the phone with my uncle and I'm explaining to him, like, listen, your sister smacked me in my face. I did nothing to her. I wasn't disrespectful. I said, and then once your sister smacked me in my face, then your brother rushed me and started whooping me with this belt. And I explained to him that I'm pregnant, and the person I was pregnant by was his right hand man's, was his guy. Like they hung together. And I explained to him, and he was like, where's he at? He started going crazy. And I was explaining to him how they were abusing me, how my mom is still in prison. And, my dad, my biological father, had popped up to tell me that my mother was alive and she'll be out in weeks. So he said, come on, I'm going to take you to the house. And when we got to this house, I was so afraid to actually even go back, but he had made me so comfortable and made me so secure. And as we're riding back in his car back to this house, he's telling me, he's like, listen, I love you. He was like, I don't know nothing about nothing that's going on. He said, but if your mother was around, these people would not do this to you. Whether they're my mother, siblings, brothers, sister, cousins, they know. If your mother was here, she would not allow it. So he's like, we're going to get down to the bottom of this. When he gets in the house, he's one of those family members that when he talk, everybody listens. And that's exactly what it was. He called the family meeting and he got down to the bottom and he let them know, anybody touch her, y'all going to have to deal with me. Leave her alone. Like enough is enough. You know what I mean? Like this girl done been through enough. And he's like, y'all trying to attack her. Did y'all attack, the guy? Did anybody get down to that? So that wasn't even the factor. They just trying to attack me, and physically. And I just couldn't take it no more. I just was like, over it. And then to hear my mother was coming home, I thought this lady was dead.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's take a breather.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take a few seconds to digest the story that Rasheeda is sharing with us today. there are people who think when people share their foster care story or the story of their life that they're somehow exaggerating, that oh your poetry is long and drawn out. It didn't really happen that way. It's a figment of your imagination.
Sure.
The fact that you get on stage and you pour over your experiences in a way that make it seem so bad, and every time we get into conversation with foster kids, their stories are just horrible. It just can't all be that true. I'm here to tell you it is that true.
It really is.
It's exactly the way that she's saying it.
Mm.
It's just like that. This is the background of young people who are experiencing foster care, poverty, and the bowels of societies clear across America. This is the reason why we are passionate. This is the reason why I am creating the Pride and Empowerment Academy for parents. Our parents need an academy. It's an emergency. It's not up for anybody's thought or debate on it. Our parents, they need an academy. Guess what? Our children need an academy too.
Mm-hmm.
We need to go back. We need to go back to basic lessons, values, and structures and strictures about building quality lives.
That's right.
Yolanda Riley says it's a fact that many foster parents foster for extra income and not the betterment of the child. This directly impacts the experience of the child when they're in their home, without a doubt.
Absolutely. I
Without a
agree.
doubt. She also said they receive training, but how do you train people to have unconditional love? And
Thank
this is
you.
this
There it is.
is go ahead. Go ahead.
You don't get that training. How do you train someone to be a full-time parent? Where I think that the limit is when they get in these contracts with these foster care parents, right? I think they should sign a permanent contract where this is not an option where you can, okay, well, this kid a little skinnier. I don't want this, so I'm gonna pick another one. That doesn't help the kid at all. I mean, I was so mentally tore up by this, like, oh my god, I'm not acceptable. Like, what do I have? What does that kid have that I don't?
You know,
Um,
this is this is really moving me this morning. You know, you could fill a football stadium with kids with these exact stories right here.
you can.
Um, when we talk about making change in the foster care system and how we're not talking about the watered down change. When we talk about the need for training, and we're not talking about the watered down training.
Mm,
When we say, it's when we say we want a better home and you put us in a watered down home
mm,
where we are sometimes going through worse than we had ever experienced before you put us in that watered down home. We're asking for real change. We're asking for change the way that we explain it.
mm.
We're asking for change the way that we see it. We're asking for things to go the way that we see from firsthand experience that they need to be. And I'm not talking about after I go through the pipeline of certifications that you want me to have after
That's
I've
right.
been indoctrinated by the mellow and passive tactics that you think are going to make my life a better thing. No,
Mm.
no, no. This is going to have to be an intense experience. It's going to have to be intense. It's going to have to be correct. It's going to have to be powerful. The
That's right.
change that we need is going to have to come swift, and it's going to have to be different. I'm
That's
not
right.
talking about I'm not talking about being so highly educated that you're using a vocabulary word to explain what we're going through. No, straight language,
Right.
sexual abuse, educational abuse,
I tell them.
physical abuse, mental abuse is what we're dealing with. The only way it can be undone is if we train our people properly. People are broken.
And that's the
People are
realistic
broken.
part about it. That's
Go ahead.
realistic. You train these people, um, you don't want the people. See, the people that ain't gonna make it, that don't qualify, is the people that squirm in their seats when you talk about the taboo topics. Those people, they're not equipped, because we need people that understand and that can relate. See, it makes me an expert of this topic that we're having a conversation about, because I can relate, and I'm talking from experience. Now, I could say everything that happened to me in the foster care system was designed to break me. Cedric, I am not broken.
That's right. Oh, we don't do
Mm,
brokenness.
oh no! All it did was
Um,
turn me into a issue.
yeah,
It's what
yeah,
it
that's
did.
right.
It fueled a flame in me. So now my vision is, I don't want to help adults. They're tarnished. They're tainted. I need to focus in on the kids. So a lot of my work is mentoring the foster cares. Anywhere I could fit in. If I could do motivational speaking, and I can build, funding up to place these children. A lot of these
Let me
kids
ask
don't
you
even have
something.
housing.
Let me ask you something. We're rounding second base here on the
Okay.
show into third base, and I want to know, what are your ideas of how to change the child welfare system? I want to respect inside of this hour the honest, hardworking social workers that are out there,
Right.
the honest, hardworking case managers that are out there, the hardworking agencies that are doing positive things in the lives of children and families. They are out there. The policymakers who are concerned about making a positive difference, they're out there. There are judges, lawyers, foster parents, adoptive parents
That's right.
who are members of the machine, who are godsends, who are good people.
Yes.
And inside of this hour, we want to acknowledge them. We want to say thank you, and we
Thank.
want to give them some tools
That's right.
today.
That's right.
What could someone have done to rescue Rasheeda? There's a Rasheeda in the system right now. What could we be doing differently to get to her and help her?
I would want to start with, the old school saying, tender, loving care. A lot of times when they're placing these children are in these homes, they don't get hugs. They barely get conversations. They're treated as just state property, and that's where it's a delay at, because when you coming in a situation, these children are already broken. They're gonna need a hug. They're gonna need kind words. They're gonna need to be redirected. Um, with less of the judgmental thing. When you get there, they throw you a chart. You're supposed to read this book that's like 1,000 pages about this kid. It shouldn't be
Mhm.
that deep. It shouldn't be. I shouldn't have to give me the medical the form so I can understand the health wise of this child. But don't give me every dilemma or every downward spiral that this kid made, because now it's gonna block my decision on how I treat this child.
Mhm.
I believe that when they do these workshops, it doesn't take 8 weeks to become a great parent. This thing
Mhm.
is a lifetime job. You understand me? And one thing they can't take from me, even though I was in the foster care system, is I'm a mother from nothing else.
Mhm.
And that's what happened to me. Um, you need real mothers, real fathers, people who have compassion, empathy, people who could, it doesn't it sparks them to see this child grow. It sparks them to channel that child's inner light, because they
That's
didn't
right.
actually be here, honestly. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And
That's
we
right.
not gonna keep making excuses for these adults.
Mhm.
They know right from wrong before they got these children.
Mhm.
I think the process, as far as the documentation and the classes, should be a lot longer than some 6 to 8 weeks. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm a mother. I didn't take any classes 6 to 8 weeks prior to me delivering my kids.
Mhm.
I just had to know what to do. And when you're naturally that, it doesn't take a book. When you're born to be a natural nurturer, it doesn't come with a notepad and pencils and pens and a teacher in the front of the class telling you, yes, that's the way, because that ain't it. This,
So
this is
what
a lot deeper than that.
what I hear you saying is that the team needs to be more diverse.
Absolutely.
We need some people who can really help, who can really get through to be a part of this whole process.
And because I'm not in that space, right? I'm not in that space where I can shake rooms and make things happen. But we have individuals that watch these podcasts, that watches these, and entrepreneur and motivators, and that's exactly where it stops at. It's just a show. It's just a watch. Nobody's willing to sit down and say, what are we gonna do to change this? Where do we start? You have to start somewhere. I taught myself that you come up with a plan and then you execute.
Right.
All we've been doing is coming up with a plan. There is no they're not executing.
Right.
That's
I feel that no matter what movements occur, no matter what progress we make, no matter what bills are passed, laws are passed, we can't just move beyond this portion of the people in foster care right here.
Right.
We can't look over these people who are going through these horror stories. I don't care if most kids in foster care are not going through this. I don't care if it's less now than it was 10 years ago.
Right.
We need to always be concerned about the percentage of youth in the foster care system who have been abused and who are still being abused. Poor people in the system. We need to remain concerned about them. They've been treated poorly, and they may have poor beliefs about themselves and the world around them. That's the fact of the matter.
Yes, it is.
We need to always keep our ears and eyes and hearts on them. I don't care how many more of us get into the middle and upper class and move on with our lives. We need to always remember the fact of the matter, which is somebody is living a terrible life right now, and they're having a terrible impact on the children in their lives. And we need to remember those children. We need to remember them. Always remember, somebody out there not only has it worse than you, nobody's noticing that they're living in a padlocked room. Nobody. I know other adults who grew up in a padlocked room who have not told their stories yet. I know other adults who still have the cigarette burns on their bodies who have not told their stories yet. I know people who work in the child welfare space who grew up with abuse, foster care, neglect, and nobody even knows they was in foster care. Never forget what we're going through. When I say we, I'm connected to you. I'm connected to my brothers and sisters. I'm connected to the young people in foster care. Poor people matter. People who are economically disadvantaged, they matter. We got to remember them. And yes, the middle class is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful space. Don't forget, you got a few million people who want to get into the next class of our society.
That's right.
Don't forget, you got middle class people out there been in the middle class for 5 generations. You don't think they want to get out of the middle class and get into the upper class? We want to grow. We want to grow. Don't ever forget about the tiers of our society. I could be idealistic and say there should be no poor people. There should be no one on the bottom, right? But then you'd call me unrealistic.
Right.
All I'm telling you to do today is to remember. Remember what young people are actually going through. When you see people like Rasheeda saying, "Hey, I want to come and share my story," welcome her with open arms. When you see a young person say, "Hey, I want to help out foster kids," www.motivatefosterkids.com. Embrace that, explore that, include that. We're connected to the tragedy that has occurred in the child welfare system. and we desire to be a part of the solution as well.
That's
I got a
right.
few questions for you.
All right.
You called yourself an advocate. What are you advocating for?
Reforming the foster care system. Um, to help, I want to help the kids coming up after me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of children where, when they age out, they don't really have housing and things of that nature. I want to be an impact. I want to be able to give back. So everything I do now is to do just that, to set myself up to where I can give back. I can
Mm-hmm.
participate in the development and the growth of a positive and more changed, foster care system.
That's right. Who are some people who you've admired over the years, who you respect and you like?
As far as like regular,
Just role models, people out
um,
in society.
wow, Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou.
Yeah,
What is it that strikes you about Maya Angelou?
her energy. She is a powerful woman, and I I just, it's the voice, it's the capture of the voice and the words that she said. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody will grab it, not everybody will understand it, but everything that she says has a message behind it or a lesson in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm inspired by that. So everything that I write has a message in it or some type of a motivation, a
Okay.
form of encouragement,
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that's I just love her. Her energy, her voice is captivating.
Is
It
there
draws you in.
is there anybody who you would like to say thank you to today?
Thank you to Oh, Miss Janelle Jackson. It is. It is. Okay. Let me explain who this is. Janelle Jackson is a foster parent of mine. I got with her when I might have been 14. The time frames is all crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my first time in a foster care uh, environment where I'm the only child. I was actually an army brat. So it was like just me and her. And it was the best time of my life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I want to say this. Not everybody in that space are bad people. I cannot say that because I didn't only have bad, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stuff happen. I had awesome stuff happen to me as well. But it was for a short period of time and then it was snatched from me.
Okay.
So Janelle Jackson was a nurse in the army. She was my foster mother. On my birthday was maybe a month after I got with her. I came home from school and I walked in the house and she had presents from the front door. She had them removed all the furniture out the house. It wasn't a dining room table. It wasn't nothing in there. And she lined her whole downstairs with presents for me. Do you know how that made me feel? Because I not one time had I celebrated a birthday. Not one time that I could tell you about a good childhood memory. But that being the only one that I think really stood out to me. I have not been able to find her. But if anybody knows her, I'm forever thankful because
We're
she
rounded.
showed me
Go ahead. Okay.
show
Mm-hmm.
me what it is to have compassion, that there is good people in the world, that
Mm-hmm.
it's not always, the dark and the, you
Mm-hmm.
can have somebody that just genuinely cares about people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she told me. She taught me that. And even though I had dealt with so much, when they did come and take me from her, I had done learned that by then.
Right.
That I don't have to be like everybody else. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to hold a grudge because these people did this stuff to me.
Mm-hmm.
That I could, smile and keep going.
That's right. If you had never entered foster care, do you feel that you would have had that experience that woman provided for you, where you had presents from the front of the house to the back of the house, and you were an army brat?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not. Because where I come from is the slums.
Right.
I'm in an area where you don't make it out. I'm
Wow.
in an area where it's addicts and the best thing happening around here is if you make it to be a CNA or LPN, you made it, and they're continuing that
Wow.
space. I'm in a space where if you get a 401k and you get accepted in a factory job. You've
Wow.
made it in this area, and nobody's mind extends that. I am
Mhm.
not the same as these people.
Right. Hold on.
Okay.
I wish we had more time to talk today, but we're down to the final 25 seconds. I wish I
Oh,
could. I wish I could break the rules, but I can't. Ladies and
all right.
gentlemen, Rasheeda Loatman, I do want you to answer the final 3 questions very quickly. The
Okay.
first, what is survival to you?
Survival to me is who is coping, it's growth, it's accepting and forgiving. It is, oh man, it's courage.
What
It's
is what is success to you?
success is me now, smiles.
That's
For
right.
and that is another thing for me. Forgiveness. Um prayer, you know,
Mhm.
just standing in my power and just not dwelling on that space
What
and
last
allowing
5
it to help me
seconds?
grow.
Final 5 seconds. What's greatness to you?
Me and my family, my children, me being a mother, that is great to me.
That's right.
Me doing everything that I didn't have in my life. Me accomplishing, being an author, being, I write books, I stand, movies, and I design my own clothing. That is greatness to me because I turned all that things and all the dark that I went through, and I'm turning it into a positive thing for myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your crown emojis ready. I want to let you know that I've listened to your story today. I've been deeply, deeply moved at your journey, how you overcame, and how you are a dedicated and committed mother today. A beautiful human being. I want to give you your respect today while you're still living, and I'm going to give you your crown today. Everybody, put your crown emojis into the chat. We're giving Rasheeda Loatman her crowns today. Put your crown emojis into the chat. Put your crown emojis into the chat. We got
Oh,
crowns coming into the middle. These are for you.
thank you.
These are
Thank
your crowns.
you.
We are
Thank
letting
you.
you
I
know, letting
appreciate
the
it.
world know that you, Rasheeda Loatman, you are America's next motivator.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
agree.
Thanks for
Thank
stopping
you,
by today.
Ted. No problem. Anytime.
All right.
Anytime.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Each and every episode of America's Next Motivator is going to have something here for you. All you've got to do is stop by and pick it up.